You are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxshall, in which I chronicle my life and attempts to become a professional writer by, doing some writing, daily, hopefully. Hello, today is Friday the 20th of December 2024, and you are listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer. Not writing today, I'm doing a lot of reading though, and I mentioned yesterday that I planned to do basically reading Tani's Bow Street Society book 7, and I've promised her feedback tomorrow, and I was thinking the evening, but she's out, so we're going to do it sort of morning or afternoon, which means I've needed to accelerate my timetable a little bit, not in a bad way. So basically when I read, it's not really proofreading that I'm doing, so my brief is to look for the big one for Tani is around consistency in characterization, particularly as this is the 7th book in the series. So there are 6 books to go. There are some characters in here that we've spent a lot of time with, and I think she's just keen to make sure that that the readers feel that nobody does anything that's too significantly out of character. And there's other notes I've been given to what I'm looking for. So it's not like just picking up a novel and reading it, because if it was, it is quite a lot longer than the previous books. I hope that isn't too much of a spoiler. Normally it would just be a case of, if it was just reading it for entertainment, purely for entertainment, then it would just be a case of putting it down in front of me and reading it. But because I need to provide some feedback, I do this differently. So one of the things I do is I actually read it out loud as though I'm sort of audiobooking. And one of the reasons I do that is when you're reading, it's very, very easy to, skip. I mean, I don't skip when I read, but sometimes you can sort of hurry through a passage, particularly if, I love dialogue. So my brain will sometimes sort of skim character descriptions or place descriptions to get to dialogue, and that doesn't mean, and that's not just in this book, that's generally, and so it doesn't mean that I'm the stuff doesn't need to be there. It's just that I know what I'm more interested in. So one of the reasons I read it out loud is to kind of prevent myself from doing that. So it does take a lot longer than just reading it would, so that's what I've been doing today. Now I knew what I needed. Basically, I knew how many pages I had left, and I'd set myself a target of doing slightly more than half of those today. I've more than achieved that now, but I've sort of spoken to Tani, that's writer T.G.Campbell, by the way. I've spoken to her or messaged her today, and the best timing for the feedback is tomorrow morning or early afternoon. So basically my plan for the rest of today, for the next few hours anyway, is to read and watch. And obviously reading solidly out loud is quite an intense thing. So I haven't been doing it. I've been on it for a lot of the day, but it's not the only thing I've been doing. So what I've been allowing myself to do is watch half an hour of television, and then read 3 or 4 chapters, then do another half an hour of television, and keep doing that. And what I've been entertaining myself with today is some... So initially, I found in, I can't remember what the shop's called, that second-hand place that does second-hand DVDs and Blu-rays and computer technology. Is it called? I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, I found copies of the extended versions of The Lord of the Rings. The Hobbit, complete with all the appendices, the making of documentaries, and my goodness, there are a lot. So over the last couple of weeks I've just watched the second movie in the trilogy. The names don't trip off my tongue as easily as the Lord of the Rings movies titles do, because obviously The Hobbit is just called The Hobbit, and so the 3 movie titles are either taken from chapters or themes in the book. I think the middle one, the one that I've just watched, is The Desolation of Smaug, actually, and there's nearly 10 hours of making of documentaries, plus a 3-hour directors and writers commentary, plus the actual movie. So I've been watching little, but they're broken up into little chunks. I'm nearly at the end actually. I've just been watching a really interesting documentary on how they put together the score, from choosing instruments to they record it, and literally the director will sit there as they record it and go, that's really good, but I feel that bit needs to that beat needs to create a little bit more tension, and so the conductor makes the relevant alterations, and then it comes back, no, that's a little bit too psycho now, so we need to dial it back a little bit from what we've just done, but more than the first version. So it's just really interesting. And then, so once I've finished that, because that's the last of it now, I shall move on to the final movie, which... Is it the Battle of the Five Armies? But I should move on to the final movie in the documentaries, but not in the next couple of days. And then the other thing I've been revisiting between chapters is my old favourite, The Bill. So I'm in the 7th year, just over halfway through. And actually, I have an idea for a short story now. And it's not actually set in this season. One of the reasons I'm now rewatching them is I want to find stories to fit in my 60/40 Doctor Who The Bill crossover collection, and I want to try and set one in each season of Doctor Who and each season of The Bill if I can. However, I've just had an idea for a story which doesn't fit in to the series I'm watching now, but I have written short stories for series 1 and series 3, but I haven't done one for series 2 yet. Now, Series 2 was broadcast in 1986, which was the year before Sophie Aldred joined Doctor Who as the character Ace, or Dorothy. And I have a funny feeling she would have been a difficult teenager. She probably hung out with some of the wrong people and possibly came to the attention of the police once or twice. I doubt she did anything bad, but I suspect she was noticed. So I'm thinking of doing a story set during Series 2 of The Bill, where Ace basically gets collared for something that's happened on the Sun Hill patch. Okay, it wasn't her. And it gives me one more chance to use Detective Inspector Roy Galloway, because he doesn't appear in the show beyond the 3 short stories set in that era. And I thought it might be quite nice for the Doctor and Ace, from a couple of years into their timeline together, maybe visit this time, and you have 2 Aces, and the Doctor trying to get the Ace that he hasn't met yet out of prison without actually revealing that he knows her future self, or something like that. So that's my idea for my next short story. I'm not going to attempt to write it now. I very much need to get, firstly, in the next couple of days, or by lunchtime, I need to finish reading the 7th Bow Street Society book, and then I really need to finish writing the first draft of Empress of the Trees. But yeah, that's me done for today. Thank you for listening. I'll be back tomorrow, and not many more of these to do now. So the last podcast I'm going to do, well, I'm on course for podcast 200 to be on the 23rd of December. That'll be the last daily one. It'll be the last numbered podcast of the year, and it'll probably take a look at my writing progress this year, looking at what I have achieved but what I need to do better next year and how I'm going to do that. And that'll be the last regular one, but there are 3 bonus episodes that will come out between now and New Year. Off the top of my head, I think it's every other day from Christmas Day onwards. I'm not sure. I think it's 25th, 27th and 29th they'll be coming out. And they're slightly longer, pre-recorded, and just looking at my year in music, my year in writing, and also we'll have one of my Doctor Who The Bill short stories sort of in short audiobook form. I think it came in at about 19-20 minutes when I read it. Anyway, I will shut up now. Thank you for listening. I'll be back tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye. You have been listening to The Diary of a Wannabe Writer, presented by Richard A. Boxall. Thank you for tuning in to my random ramblings, and if you'd like to know more about me or my projects, visit my link tree at linktr.ee/Richard Writes, capital R, capital W. Thank you for listening.